From Steve Bannon speaking at the Citadel Republican Society last month to the DUI arrest of State Senator Paul Campbell to the very latest on Santee Cooper and SCANA, I sit down one-on-one with community activists and 2019 North Charleston mayoral candidate Thomas Dixon for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Well, Pastor Dixon,
My brother,
it's so good to see you again.
so good to see you also.
I appreciate this.
Sir, thank you. Thank you for inviting me always.
Anytime. Well, let me jump into the obvious. And this is from WBTW up in Florence, Myrtle Beach. And the headline reads this: Ex-officer's attorney. Shooting was manslaughter, not murder. Attorneys for former South Carolina police officer Michael Slater say their client committed voluntary manslaughter. Prosecutors, however, say the shooting was murder. So was it manslaughter or was it murder in your mind?
I'm going to go along with the federal prosecutors who believe it was murder because there was malice and intent. There was even forethought. Anybody that watches the video, and I don't see how they come out with a hung jury before, anybody that watches the video can see that what the officer did, what Slater did, he knew exactly what he was doing. And he admitted it now, since he's taken his plea deal, that yes, he did willfully and with intent shoot Walter Scott as he ran away. There was no reason for it to go to that level. So the time from Walter Scott's breaking away from him to the point where he decided, which is a matter of seconds, or 1 second even, but he decided in his mind, I'm going to shoot him. I know he's running away, but I'm going to shoot him. He pulled his service revolver, or pulled his weapon, leveled it at the back of Walter Scott, squeezed off 8 rounds, 5 of them hit Walter Scott in the back, and then he went to cover up the crime. And actually had done so for 3 days until a good man by the name of Faith and Santana showed up with a video, that ram in the bush that said, nope, you're not getting ready to get away with this murder. So the federal prosecutors believe it's murder. I believe it's murder. I believe there was willful intent. And of course, the conversation with his attorneys saying that the prosecutors are being unreasonable. Well, he should have thought about being unreasonable when he squeezed 8 shots off at the back of Walter Scott. He should have thought about being unreasonable when we look at the family of Walter Scott, Judy Scott, Walter Sr., Anthony, Rodney, the whole family, and what they've had to go through now for 2.5 years, and something they're going to have to go through for life. We're right here. The sentencing is Monday, and this is the holiday season. They just celebrated Thanksgiving without a seat for Walter, or without Walter in a seat, let me put it that way. They're going to have a sentencing on Monday. And if it's anything short of what expectations are, my expectations would range, I would go along with 25, but I would hope that the murder conviction of life would stand. And that's what that murder charge holds. Hopefully they'll be able to, and it's not comfort anyway because the seat is still going to be empty on Christmas and New Year's, that they will have some kind of comfort in their house knowing that justice has been served for their loved one. As of right now, from April 4th, 2015 until today, justice has not been served. Even with his plea and everything, justice still has not been served because he needs to be convicted and handed down the stiffest penalty possible to ensure that's where justice is served. Will it make it any easier for the Scott family? Absolutely not.
But let me turn you over to the 75 Calhoun Street.
Yes.
The Charleston County School
Board.
Board.
Turn somebody over there.
Stay on that one. But the Post and Corey reported this. The Charleston County School Board re-elected Kate Darby as its chair in a tense 5-4 vote Monday and stalled discussion on the placement of the James Allen Bott slot. The vote for the chair fell along racial lines, with white members voting for Darby and black members voting against her. The board then re-elected, that is, the Reverend Eric Mack as its vice chair in a unanimous vote. 5-4 tells you what, Pastor Dixon?
5 5-4 tells me that the voice of the community is being represented in a way that it hasn't been represented before. There's a disconnect between 75 Calhoun and the African American community. People of color, let me just put it that way. Where people of color within the district are being underserved and have been traditionally underserved for many years. And it's because of the segment that's not people of color. Let me be politically correct, I guess.
Okay.
The segment of the board that's not people of color who continue to hold sway over what happens within that board. They're the ones that every time, and I just thank God for revelation knowledge that continues to uncover the plots and the schemes. But every time the backroom deals are being made, they're being found out. And guess who's always at the table? It's the others, the 5 that are there. Every now and then, maybe one of those other people of color is there. One of the 4 might be at the table, but predominantly, most of the time,
Okay.
these things are being settled for our children children of color, who no matter what kind of title Kate Darby or Cindy Coates or any of them have, and no matter how long they've been in the school system, they don't know black children like black children are. They have an assumption of them. They educate and they policy make from a position of assumption. Whereas really what they need to do is they need to make sure that the 4 members are always at the forefront at the table, above board, making decisions that are going to govern all of our children. Their input is valuable when it comes to, specifically when it comes to their position on the children that they understand the most. Children like them, children that look like them, white children. But when it comes to children of color, they need to be more attentive to the needs of the other 4 members, the African American members of the board, and the African American community, as far as how we want our children to succeed. Those issues have been neglected and overlooked for a long time. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm not going to mince my words, that's not anything that I do. And I hope that, my opinion will be respected according to the First Amendment. But Kate Darby needs to go. Cindy Bond Coates needs to go. And there are about 3 or 4 more that need to go. Well, about at least 3 that need to go. Who are the replacements? It doesn't have to be people of color, as long as they are ready to exhibit fair and equitable treatment of all of our children and eliminate from Charleston County School District the term failing schools and make sure that all of our students are equipped for whatever plot in life they decide to. Our free public school, okay, because not everybody can go to a choice school. So that's where I stand at with that. I wish that the outcome would have been different. I'm encouraged because the vote was along the lines that they were. I know some of you hear somebody gonna call me a racist. Well, if the fact that I'm looking for fair and equitable treatment for children that look like me makes me a racist, then call me that all day long, because I'm gonna make sure that not only our children of color are taken care of, but all children, because all children deserve a fair and equal opportunity at life, liberty, and happiness in America. All of them. And education is one of the fundamental principles that will guarantee them that shot.
Let me turn to SCANA.
Yeah.
You talk about the good old boy system a lot, and there's so many back and forth between who was wrong and who was right.
Mm-hmm.
As we sit here right now, who is right and who's wrong in this situation?
Well, SCANA is a complicated issue, but when we relate to the good old boy system, throughout this state and in many communities, there's been people who have been in power in this state who have over the years, done anything and everything they wanted to without any kind of backlash, without feeling any kind of requirement for justice. I mean, the Slater case, same thing. When we look at North Charleston and we look at the millions of dollars that have been paid out because of out of taxpayer money because of wrongdoing by the mayor and council and in the Slater case again, taxpayer monies. When we look at SCANA, my personal belief, and I'll give you my personal belief on this, is that they knew that things were going bad. But they continued, though, to ensure that their top people drew that money in. The money's hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars going to them still. And nobody has held them accountable for that. I'm liking that to the North Charleston and these other different issues, and even the school board when they make mistakes. I mean, because the school board has made mistakes with the Durham bus system and not only paid them money from original contracting, but after Durham screwed up so bad, they turned around and doubled or tripled, something like that, the money. That's taxpayer dollars going down the road, I mean, down the tube, and with no accountability. So now, in the afterthought, and this is where we get rid of the good old boys, we start making them pay. Making them pay. All of the monies that they received, these CEOs and everything received in SCANA,
Right.
the salaries of those in North Charleston or the school district, that CEO from the school, the CFO from the school district that just $18 million came up missing, he just walked away. See ya, have a nice day. No, we need to make sure that, and I don't know how to do it or what laws need to be enacted, but anytime that we have that type of situation where we have taxpayer dollars that have been misappropriated and misused by people that have been caught misusing taxpayer funds, they need to pay it back. They need to pay it back. If they can't pay it back, then they need to pay back everything that they can. Ensure that they can, still have a roof over their head.
Okay.
Ensure that they have transportation, because South Carolina's transportation system right now has not entered the 21st century, which it will. But make sure they have transportation. But anything else, liquidate their assets and put that back into the public fund the way they took it from. And that's one way of recovering our funds that have been wasted. Just think about, even in North Charleston, the millions of dollars that have been just thrown away of taxpayer dollars, what we could be doing with that money. But it's that good old boy system that continues to perpetuate it. When you never feel wrath, when you never feel any kind of discipline for your actions, when you can shoot somebody in the back as they're running away and think that, okay, I got to get away with this, then that empowers others to continue doing it. So until we decide that we're not going to empower anybody to do wrongdoing in the state of South Carolina, but instead we are going to put the checks and balances in place to make sure that anybody that's caught doing wrong pays for it, and I don't care what level, because they don't have any problem holding the little guy accountable for it. You pick up a piece of candy in the store and get caught, you're going to prison. You're going to jail. You're going to get restitution in the whole nine. But you see the top people, the people at the top, many in politics, who do wrong and they just walk unscathed. That's not any kind of way that we make others understand that when you do wrong, you're going to be punished. So those SCANA CEOs and CFOs and all of them, they need to know by being punished for their actions. Put that money back. Give the state of South Carolina their money back.